George Bush could learn a thing or two. For your listeners, in June of 2002, there was a story, front page of the New York Times, in fact, bottom fold, where it talked about a village in my home country, Kenya, where this small Maasai village, a son of the village came back from Stanford, where he had been going to medical school. And while in medical school, when he came back, he told his village what were the real facts of the September 11 attacks. And the people in this village, which is quite poor, were very touched on a human level and by the suffering and the loss in New York City. And do you know what they did? They gathered 14 head of cattle, 14 cows, and offered them to the people of New York and said, here, we want to contribute to your recovery. George Bush could learn quite a lot from these people, from the generosity of people who have nothing, and by any measure, whether in the U.S. or in Kenya, are extremely poor people, but who responded on a human level, who responded on the sense that fellow human beings had suffered a devastation, and they wanted to be in empathy.
Anti-war activist Bruce Gagnon's May 7th Counterpunch commentary captured my thoughts on mainstream politics and the systematic nature of empire. He was writing a critique of an editorial on the U.S.-Iraq war that appeared in his local Portland, Maine newspaper. It complements what I have argued about the nature of U.S. imperialism and especially liberal and democratic support for it. He said that the editor explained why the paper had decided to come out against the war in Iraq after long supporting Bush's shameful and illegal occupation. The editor, as the editor now, stated that the paper had not renounced its belief in American exceptionalism. We're still the city on the hill.
I put to you that the United States is without doubt the greatest show on the road. Brutal, indifferent, scornful, and ruthless it may be, but it's also very clever. As a salesman, it is out on its own, and its most saleable commodity is self-love. It's a winner. Listen to all American presidents on television say the words, the American people. As in the sentence, I say to the American people, it is time to pray and to defend the rights of the American people. And I ask the American people to trust their president in the action he is about to take on behalf of the American people. It's a scintillating stratagem. Language is actually employed to keep thought at bay. The words American people provide a truly voluptuous cushion of reassurance. You don't need to think. Just lie back on the cushion. The cushion may be suffocating your intelligence and your critical faculties, but it's very comfortable. This does not apply, of course, to the 40 million people living below the poverty line and the 2 million men and women imprisoned in the vast gulag of prisons which extends across the United States. The United States no longer bothers about low-intensity conflict. It no longer sees any point in being reticent or even devious. It puts its cards on the table without fear or favor. It quite simply doesn't give a damn about the United Nations, international law, or critical dissent, which it regards as impotent and irrelevant. It also has its own bleating little lamb tagging behind it on a lead, the pathetic and supine Great Britain. What has happened to our moral sensibility? Did we ever have any? What do these words mean? Do they refer to a term very rarely employed these days? Conscience? A conscience to do not only with our own acts, but to do with our shared responsibility in the acts of others. Is all this dead?
this is what needs to happen. It had nothing to do with what they would get back. It had nothing to do with the fact that someone else was going to make a profit off of it. It was about caring about the suffering and the grief and the loss of another human being. Human beings from very far, far away who they had never met. And this is the spirit of generosity. This is the spirit of human solidarity. This is what people need to understand about what is going on in Africa.
Bush, you saw the thing about the, what was it called? The 1994, 1992 document that they produced, that Bush one and them produced. What was it called? For a New America. It was some news. Project for a New American Century, that thing. That
the New American Century, right.
Well, they said in there what they want to do. They were the single superpower, and now they had to strike to control the whole. Right. So people say that Iraq is about oil. Yeah, it's about oil, but that is only desire.
Yeah.
Unknown purpose, silence, the trapped and hurted, dash from the back, come back to the blind and back. This will defeat your mind. Split onto dorsal lips, stretch to sky, moves left by monsters, mortal style. And this despair, this desperate need to secede from reality, rather than weeds. What whips the trees, go to knees. In this class of society, this beats. We all see, we all hear, and we believe. Ripping off his head, MGB knew I fought to take charge. No one looked as large. I gotta see strange for regime change. This gathering fear and gathering shades. On the earth, their demise, we survive, no surprise. A day of man to eradicate man, vibrations while we are till a one night stand. After sacrifice, art to liberation, demonstration, false infestation, divergent heated penetration to critical tactical stations. These your 993 bar machinations. Skies chloride flames, planes raining, new day rising. E.T. conspiracy, politicized satire. Apocalyptic theology, terminal stupidity, faith, legs of fire. As the tears flow, echoes of new world, whole post-nation, perhaps like elation, led to complacent, broken mutation. Now foundation, raid, records, compound for tax evasion, humiliation, he commit, insecticide, rats, media scribes. Flag this day to commemorate and await the return of the great god Arthropod. We fly the black flag this day to commemorate and await the return of the great god Arthropod.
Doom, 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 doom. Somebody blew up America. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Somebody blew up America. All thinking people oppose terrorism, both domestic and international, but one should not be used to cover the other. Doom, 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 doom. Somebody blew up America. They say it's some terrorist, some barbaric Arab in Afghanistan. It wasn't our American terrorists. It wasn't the Klan or the skinheads or the them that blows up nigger churches or reincarnates us on death row. It wasn't Trent Lott or David Duke or Giuliani or Schuyler Helms retiring. It wasn't the gonorrhea in costume, the white sheet diseases that have murdered black people, terrorized reason and sanity, most of humanity as they pleases. They say, who say? Who do the saying? Who is them paying? Who tell lies? Who in disguise? Who had the slaves? Who got the bucks out the bucks? Who got fat from plantations? Who genocided Indians, tried to waste the black nation? Who live on Wall Street, the first plantation? Who cut your nuts off? Who raped your ma? Who lynched your pa? Who got the tar? Who got the feathers? Who had the match? Who set the fires? Who killed and hired? Who say they God and still be the devil? Who the biggest only? Who the most goodest? Who do Jesus resemble? Who created everything? Who the smartest? Who the greatest? Who the richest? Who say you ugly and they the good lookingest? Who define art? Who define science? Who made the bombs? Who made the guns? Who bought the slaves? Who sold them? Who call you them names? Who say Dahmer wasn't insane? Who stole Puerto Rico? Who stole the Indies, the Philippines, Manhattan, Australia, and Hebrides? Who forced opium on the Chinese? Who owned them buildings? Who got the money? Who think you funny? Who lock you up? Who own the papers? Who own the slave ship? Who run the army? Who the fake president? Who the ruler? Who the banker? Who own the mind? Who twists your mind? Who got bread? Who own the mind? Who twists your mind? Who got bread? Who need peace? Who you think need war? Who own the oil? Who do no toil? Who own the soil? Who is not a nigger? Who is so great ain't nobody bigger? Who own the city? Who own the air? Who own the water? Who own your crib? Who rob and steal and cheat and murder? Make lies the truth? Who call you uncouth? Who live in the biggest house? Who do the biggest crime? Who go on vacation anytime? Who kill the most niggers? Who kill the most Jews? Who kill the most Italians? Who kill the most Irish? Who kill the most Africans? Who kill the most Japanese? Who kill the most Latinos? Who own the ocean? Who own the airplanes? Who own the malls? Who own television? Who own radio? Who own what ain't even known to be owned? Who own the owners that ain't the real owners? Who own the suburbs? Who suck the cities? Who make the laws? Who made Bush president? Who believed the Confederate flag needed to be flying? Who talk about democracy and be lying? Ho! Who the beasts in Revelations? Who 666? Who decide Jesus get crucified? Who the devil on the real side? Who got rich from Armenian genocide? Who the biggest terrorist? Who changed the Bible? Who killed the most people? Who the biggest terrorists? Who changed the Bible? Who killed the most people? Who do the most evil? Who don't worry about survival? Who have the colonies? Who stole the most land? Who rule the world? Who say they good but only do evil? Who the biggest executioner? Who own the oil? Who want more oil? Who told you what you think that lady you find that is a lie? Who found Bin Laden? Maybe they Satan. Who paid the CIA? Who knew the bomb was gonna blow? Who know why the terrorists learned to fly in Florida and San Diego? Who know why 5 Israelis was filming the explosion and cracking their sides at the notion? Who need fossil fuel when the sun ain't going nowhere? Who made the credit cards? Who get the biggest tax cut? Who walked out of the conference against racism? Who killed Malcolm, Kennedy, and Dr. King? Who would want such a thing? Are they linked to the murder of Lincoln? who invaded Grenada, who made money from apartheid, who keep the Irish a colony, who overthrew Chile and Nicaragua later, who killed David Sebeco, Chris Hani, the same ones who killed Biko, Cabral, Neruda, Allende, Che Guevara, Sandino, who killed Kabila, the ones who issued Lumumba, Manlane, Betty Shabazz, Princess Di, Ralph Featherstone, Little Bobby, who locked up Mandela, Dhoruba, Geronimo, Asada, Mumia, Garvey, Dashiell Hammett, Althea Sutton, who killed Huey Newton, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, Mikey Smith, Walter Rodney. Was it the ones who tried to poison Fidel? Who tried to keep the Vietnamese suppressed? Who put a price on Lenin's head? Who put the Jews in ovens and who helped them do it? Who said America first and okayed the yellow stars? Who killed Rosa Luxemburg, Liebknecht? Who murdered the Rosenbergs and all the good people iced, tortured, assassinated, vanished? Who got rich from Algeria, Libya, Haiti, Iran, Iraq, Saudi, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine? Who cut off people's hands in the Congo? Who invented AIDS? Who put the germs in the Indian's blanket? Who thought up the Trail of Tears? Who blew up the Maine and started the Spanish-American War? Who got Sharon back in power? Who backed Batista, Hitler, Bilbo, Chiang Kai-shek? Who decided affirmative action had to go? Reconstruction, the New Deal, the New Frontier, the Great Society. Who do Tom Ass Clarence work for? Who do come out the colon's mouth? Who know what kind of skeezer is a Condoleezza? Who pay Connolly to be a wooden Negro? Who give Genius Awards to Homo Locus Subsidiary? Who overthrew Nkrumah, Bishop? Who poisoned Robeson? Who tried to put Du Bois in jail? Who framed Rapp, Brown, Jamil Al-Amin? Who framed the Rosenbergs, Garvey, the Scottsboro Boys, the Hollywood 10? Who set the Reichstag fire? Who knew the World Trade Center was going to get bombed? Who told 4,000 Israeli workers at the Twin Towers to stay home that day? Why did Sharon stay away? Who? Explosion of owl, the newspapers say the devil's face could be seen. Who make money from war? Who make dough from fear and lies? Who want the world like it is? Who want the world to be ruled by imperialism and national oppression and terror and violence and hunger and poverty? Who is the ruler of hell? Who is the most powerful? Who ever seen God? But everybody seen the devil. Like an owl exploding in your life, in your brain, in yourself. Like an owl who know the devil all night, all day if you listen. Like an owl exploding in fire. Like an owl exploding if you, in your life, in your brain, in yourself. Like an owl who know the devil all night, all day if you listen. Like an owl exploding in fire. We hear the questions rise in terrible flame, like the whistle of a crazy dog, like the acid vomit of the fire of hell. Who?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you so
Baraka.
much for supporting Free Radio. We appreciate it.
Very much. Appreciate it.
It's a real pleasure to have you.
Show me your pain. I will lead you into my dark alley. Dark alley. The puddles from the rain stained with oil. The feces of cats prey. Killing alley. As they, the rats, play. Killing alley. Behind boxes and cars with paint hanging loosely. Killing alley. Killing alley. I will look to you as if to say, killing alley. This way, and you will follow the corner pitch holds your comfort. collection of blood, broken mucous membrane. Killing alley, you stumble into your shame. Killing alley, step out of the rain to the day, to the same. Pause. Killing alley, cry for me as you shake. Killing alley, holding hands that have killed. You touch my face to stress that you are being honest. You breathe. Breathe. Killing alley. Breathe. Breathe. Killing alley. A condom full of semen. Seed-filled pus flowing freely. Killing alley. You smile, brandishing the knife. Remaining unchanged. Killing alley. Killing alley. Killing alley. Killing alley. Alley. Killing alley. A slit in the wrist of my subconscious. My dream bleeds onto the page. Here. Killing alley. Killing alley. A slit in the wrist of my subconscious. My dream bleeds onto the page. Here. Killing alley. Killing alley.
Dick Stevenson in the New York Times talked about that Bush would never see the real Africa, the suffering and the problems that Africans are facing. By the same token, he won't see the women who are setting up orphanages to care for children in their villages, women who are involved in food security programs at the village level and at the family level, women who are doing tree planting to stop desertification across the continent, women who are fighting day in and day out for their rights and the rights of their children. He won't get to meet these amazing people across the continent who, with dignity and with their pride intact, still fight in the face of all the kinds of things and kind of oppression and exploitation that they face every day. That is his loss. And if he was going on something other than a 5-day tour, a 5-day safari across Africa, he would take the time to visit with people, to get to know them.
I've withdrawn my support for the war, the editor goes on, for pragmatic reasons, not because my underlying worldview has changed. I believe we should use our strength as the world's only superpower with great caution, but I do believe we should use it. Our nation has a unique role in the world, and with it come unique responsibilities and unique privilege. Just go back to Thomas Jefferson. This is not a new argument. Again, we see the age-old appeal to the United States as the special nation. We are the chosen people. In other words, Gagnon responds, the editor supports U.S. empire and all that comes with it. The killing and domination of cultures are acceptable, but he's withdrawing his support primarily because this war has been mismanaged by Bush to the point where turning things around is impossible. The slaughter is simply not working out the way we expected it would. Gagnon is correct to assert that this is largely the Democratic Party position as well. This is not just a Republican position. The war is not necessarily bad, and the U.S. still has the right and responsibility to take out anyone that we decide should be eliminated. But it must be handled well so that world opinion and the American people do not turn against the policy.
Soldier running, G.I. Joeing, Navy SEALing dead to enemy blood flow and blasted open. Decapitated men shot over and over again. Pomegranate sprint down the labyrinth, radar lens tactics, scope and obliterate. Skip the damn bodies like there was cracks in the sidewalk, potholes in the tarmac could get a worshipper's fate. Fatal wounds and medical or queasy, remorse-free. I trail the tail, maggot like flailing like Medusa. If ya looked at her, flailing like Medusa. If ya looked at her, doesn't hurt to die, a demigod death. Still got the breath that jumps me from one level to the next. Blood don't flow from no digital chip now. Put the quarter in the video, what you get is illusions. Blood don't flow from no digital chip now. Put the quarter in the video. Ooh, here we go. Subliminal, non-remorse training is criminal. Anesthetizing points came by hit. The nameless target, terrorist color, running back, gunning back. Straddle corpses, torp war zones like Afghanistan. Building gutted, fire rutted. Used to be a courthouse with esquires. Used to have more doctors per capita in a used to be empire than here. In a Maria stomach that easily no longer queasy to see. Extrapolate to Watergate and Pentagon. Order smart business with the eyeball with the child. And municipals, the power up for weeks in credit hospitals. Chilling at the PC screen, cause really it's nothing to me. It's only simulation, double thumbed animation. Like the 10 o'clock news, misinformation.
I can assure the American people we're making good progress.
We're giving war zone free.
This is just the beginning.
We're living war zone free. US is war zone free. No idea what it's like living in a war zone. Blood don't flow from no digital chip now. Put a quarter in a video, what you get is illusions. Blood don't flow from no digital chip now. Put the quarter in a video, what you get is what you get is. Blood don't flow from no digital chip now. Put the quarter in a video, what you get is a whole spin and a big time show. Blood don't flow from no digital chip now. Put the quarter in a video. Oh, here we go.
I'm speaking with Njoki Njehu. She's the executive director of the 50 Years is Enough network, and we're discussing Africa policy and related issues. On the cover of the July 9th New York Times I quoted from earlier is a photo of a very stoic-looking George W. Bush accompanied by Condoleezza Rice and his Secretary of State, Colin Powell. They are visiting a Senegalese island which was once used in the slave trade. But we have to turn to page A8 to get any coverage of the trip and the substance of the story. Mm-hmm. What about the media coverage? Do you think they're missing this moment?
I mean, if you look at the New York Times, you will not get any kind of real story of what people are saying, how people are feeling. You just mentioned Gorée Island. It's the westernmost point of Africa. It's also the place where more than 1 million slaves were exported from Africa through this one particular island. It is a sacred place. It's a place where the lives and the spirits and communities were broken as people were snatched from their homeland and taken into the Americas in the slave trade. Millions died on the way there. Millions were brought to the Americas. And it is a real insult, I have to say, for many people that George Bush dares to go to Gorée Island and make the kind of statement that he made, where he stands there and invokes the name of Phyllis Wheatley and Martin Luther King. I guess for him, African American leaders have to be dead for him to recognize them and acknowledge their contribution, because he has for now years refused to meet, for instance, with the Congressional Black Caucus, but he is able to stand there and in full hypocrisy make the kind of statement that he made. He did not make an apology really for slavery in a way that is meaningful and begins to redress that grave injustice suffered by our ancestors, and that continues to be lived out by many African Americans who live in the United States and other people of color. The immigrants who came through that route and the immigrants who did not come on the Mayflower have come to the United States and have suffered a very common sort of prejudice and ways in which to this day that reality assails their lives and limits and becomes an obstacle in terms of what people are able to achieve.
Many thousands, if not millions of people in the United States itself are demonstrably sickened, shamed, and angered by their government's actions. But as things stand, they are not a coherent political force yet. But the anxiety, uncertainty, and fear which we can see growing daily in the United States is unlikely to diminish. A writer's life is a highly vulnerable, almost naked activity. We don't have to weep about that. The writer makes his choice and is stuck with it. But it is true to say that you are open to all the winds, some of them icy indeed. You are out on your own, out on a limb. You find no shelter, no protection, unless you lie, in which case, of course, you have constructed your own protection and, it could be argued, become a politician. I have referred to death quite a few times in this speech. I shall now quote a poem of my own called Death. Where was the dead body found? Who found the dead body? Was the dead body dead when found? How was the dead body found? Who was the dead body? Who was the father or daughter or brother or uncle or sister or mother or son of the dead and abandoned body? Was the body dead when abandoned? Was the body abandoned? By whom had it been abandoned? Was the dead body naked or dressed for a journey? What made you declare the dead body dead? Did you declare the dead body dead? How well did you know the dead body? How did you know the dead body was dead? Did you wash the dead body? Did you close both its eyes? Did you bury the body? Did you leave it abandoned? Did you kiss the dead body?
Dr. Wells has just put out a nice little book here, The ISIS Papers. Interesting material there. Intriguing explanations. Psychoanalytic. Genetic explanations. That's good. Right. No problem there. But often when you explain a problem, trying to give an explanation that has in it an implied what? Program. You see? A good explanation, and I'm not saying she does not have that, but a good explanation is one that has an implied program. It becomes interesting to say that the white man oppresses the black man because perhaps the white man sees the black man's penis as being larger. What kind of solution does that suggest? That black men shrink themselves? I don't think that's a viable solution. Or to protect one's genetic pool, that's a viable explanation in a way. Or that they keep us subordinated because they believe we have a lower IQ. But realize this, ladies and gentlemen, these whites are going to oppress us whether we have little penises or big penises. They're going to oppress us whether our IQ is larger or smaller. The issue then is not one of the discussing of IQ and discussing whether an IQ test is culturally oriented or whether it is really true that black men are bigger than white men. And hoping then by showing that they are actually the same size, that then the white men will stop oppressing black men. Forget that. It is enough that white men get material wealth from oppressing black men. Power and what? Prestige from oppressing black men. Comfort from oppressing black men. We don't have to go into the underwear. We don't have to go into the jeans. Hey, I'm living well, and I want to what? Keep living well. And if that means putting my foot on your neck, that's what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter if I have no penis. No, that's the deal. So, it's good and it's intriguing. There's a lot to that and it explains a lot. But then at the same time, we have to keep focused on some things here. What is it? That racism provides economic, political, psychological, and social advantages. And it is highly unlikely that whites are going to be what? Persuaded out of those advantages by any attitude change or anything. The determining feature of race relations is not prejudice toward blacks, but rather the superior position of whites and institutions, ideological as well as structural, which maintain it. I'm going to run through here because that's more that I keep in within time. Racism is more effectively analyzed then as a strategy for the maintenance of the privilege rather than as prejudice. I've talked to people about how in the future we're going to have what I call faceless racism. Covell in his study of white racism talks about meta-racism. When the racial attitudes of whites will not be readily apparent. They won't call you dirty names. They'll be nice to you. You can live next to them, sleep next, but you can still have the problem of trying to figure out why are we still where? On the bottom. Why, after all of this desegregation, fair housing laws, and all of these other things, integration of schools, and the whole bit, are our people still down and out and suffering and on the point of annihilation? If we view racism as a culturally sanctioned rational response, now what you understand, a rational response, because a lot of people want to define racism as what? Some irrational, hate-filled orientation. You don't have to define it that way. Rational response to struggles over scarce resources. What are we saying here? There ain't enough for everybody. And I'm going to what? Get mine. And getting mine involves putting my foot on your neck. And I am thinking in perfectly what? Logical, rational terms. Period. And I am not crazy. I am not irrational. am saying I want to feed my children first. I want to clothe my family. I want to stay out of the cold. I want other people doing all the hard work and the whole bit. And hey, both of us can't live this way. And I know who I want to live this way. Straightforward. Straightforward. But we refuse to deal with it that way.
Oh, Hans, I loved the book, and I'm not the press. I felt like I was speaking with a friend who could really put my thoughts into words, put it down on paper and rationalize everything that I think. It was beautiful to me, and it doesn't depress me. However, I think that if we really want to make a dent in this empire, that we may have to put our lives on the line, unfortunately. Look at what happened in the park, the repression is so constant. As far as the analysis of empire, you say nobody's really challenged that, the systemic problems. I disagree. I think that the groups that gained the least from the empire have always challenged it, and they have to be repressed the harshest, and that's the American Indian movement and the Black movement, because they were the greatest victims of empire. I think they've always challenged the system, and they've had to be crushed,
Well, to clarify, and maybe I'll give myself the last word before we go to Izzy's, but I did not mean to say that no one has challenged the assumptions of empire in this society. I meant, and it's in my notes, that is those within the government, and I would depart from probably Johnson and even Parenti, in terms of those who are now within the Congress of the United States and the official branches of the U.S. government. There is no one that I know in his or her writings, public speeches, who has challenged the assumptions of this imperialist system. They have voted against particular wars. They have made speeches. Robert Byrd is always making eloquent speeches, and he always votes for the money to continue the war. Watch their feet, not their mouth. Watch where they go, not what they say. This is it. We'll leave that as the final word for tonight.
This was Kinté Cast number 2, Enter the Roach Messiah. The voices in order of appearance are Njoki Njehu of Kenya with the V-Man of freakradio.org, formerly 101.1 FM in Santa Cruz. They were in a show called What's Missing in U.S. Africa Policy. Dr. John Marciano, Professor Emeritus, State University of New York, lecturing in a presentation called Empire as a Way of Life. Harold Pinter, speaking for his acceptance of the 2005 Nobel Prize of Literature in a show called Art, Truth, and Politics, produced by Maria Gilardin of tucradio.org. Amiri Baraka with Franklin and Commodore of KBFR, Boulder Free Radio, Colorado, featuring the banned poem, Somebody Blew Up America. Dr. Amos Wilson, a psychologist, speaking in a presentation called White Imperialism and Black Self-Annihilation. This recording comes from libradio.com, a sampler we called Doctoral Warriors for the African Mind. The music in order of appearance. Well, that was Cassandra Xavier. She was performing Love is a Battlefield, composed by Mike Chapman and Holly Knight. This is in a streaming audio presentation at kintéspace.com called Nothing Is All I Need. We also had Afrofractal performing Enter the Roach Messiah. Afrofractal is at afrofractal.megafunk.com. That's AFROFRAKTAL.MEGAFUNK.com. We also had Tamika Drew performing Killing Alley. Finally, we had Fumalao Bankole performing Digital Chip from her CD Baby album LA River. On kintéspace.com, it's in the streaming audio presentation LA River. The audio components used in this mix include something from Bill Laswell, something called Ambient Grooves from Sony Creative Software. And Roz X Music had some stuff in there from rozx.megafunk.com, rasx.megafunk.com. Some modular electronica featuring Test Shot Starfish from Sony Creative Software. And Cinemascape with composer James Johnson, also from Sony Creative Software. I think you're getting the pattern now. Most of the voices in this Kinté cast are a remix of complete streaming audio presentations at kintéspace.com. This is Roz X at kintéspace.com.